So I'm the starting player. I'm gonna not draw a card for turn and play Blooming Marsh, tapping it for green to cast a land or elf and then passing the turn.
Okay, I will draw for turn. I will play a Lair of the Hydra, entering untapped, and I will pass the turn.
My turn, I will draw a card. I will play this Land or Waste. And I'm going to cast a Pillage the Bog.
I would pass on Pillage the Bog.
So I'm going to look at the top 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. I'm going to keep this card right here and put the others in the bottom of my library. And I've tapped this for green, taking a damage to cast an Elvish Mystic and pass the turn.
I will draw for turn. I am going to play a Boseiju as my land for turn. I'm going to tap for 2 and cast a Sylvan Scrying. I will search my library for a land card. I'm going to find Thespian Stage and put it into my hand. And then I'm going to pass the turn.
I'm going to untap and draw a card. I'm going to cast a Dusk Legion Celiot, losing a life, drawing a card. Not what we needed. I'm going to lose another life to this wasteland here and cast another Pillage the Bog. So we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 cards again. And we're going to keep this one, sending the rest to the bottom of the library. And here I pass.
Okay, untap. I will draw a card for turn. For my land drop, I'm gonna play Lotus Field. Entering the battlefield and having an ETB trigger to sacrifice 2 lands. I will not tap these for mana. I will simply sacrifice them and pass the turn.
Untap and draw a card. I'm gonna tap this one, and that one to cast a Saga, the Huntsman's Redemption.
That's a really good card. I'm no response to that.
So I'm gonna enter stage 1, create a 3/3 beast token, and then I'm gonna punch you for 2.
I would love to take 2 damage. I'm gonna go to 18.
And I pass to you.
Okay, my turn. I will untap. I will draw for turn. As my land drop, I'm gonna play Thespian Stage, which has an ability which says I tap it for 2 colorless mana, and I will copy another land on the battlefield. First off, though, I'm gonna tap Lotus Field for 3 blue. I'm gonna cycle Vizier of Tumbling Sands, which has an cycle ability for 2 mana. I can untap a permanent and draw a card. So I will untap Lotus Field, have 1 blue mana floating, and draw a card. I am then gonna use 2 mana from my now 4 mana floating to activate Thespian Stage, making a copy of the Lotus Field. With my 2 mana remaining floating, I'm gonna cast a Hidden Strings to target both of my now Lotus Fields to untap them. I am gonna untap. And then I'm gonna cast a Pour Over the Pages. I have tapped for 6 mana because I have 2 Lotus Fields, and I will float 1 blue mana. Pour Over the Pages reads that I draw 3 cards, I untap up to 2 lands, and then I discard a card, which is really, really good in this deck. It nets me mana, gives me 1 mana, I draw 3, and then I discard a card. So I will have 1 blue mana floating, and I will resolve Pour Over the Pages, drawing 3 cards, untapping my 2 Lotus Fields, and I will discard a Arboreal Grazer to my graveyard. I will then tap for 6 mana and cast a Leer, Disciple of the Drowned, with 2 blue mana floating. And Leer is a very it's kind of a centerpiece of this deck, which allows me to recast all of my sorceries from my graveyard. Notably, with 2 mana floating, I'm able to, from my graveyard, cast a Hidden Strings again that I recently cast. So I will spend my 2 blue mana to cast Hidden Strings with flashback from my graveyard, targeting my Lotus Fields again. So I will untap my Lotus Fields, put Hidden Strings into exile, and then cast the Pour Over the Pages again from my graveyard. Tapping my Lotus Fields, having 1 blue mana floating, and then drawing 3, discarding 1 and untapping 2 lands. 1, 2, discarding a Lotus Field. I will continue this storm turn with tapping both my Lotus Fields for 6 blue mana, total of 7 blue mana floating, and cast another Hidden Strings that I drew. Untapping both of my Lotus Fields again, floating 5 blue mana. I will then recast the Hidden Strings from my graveyard using Lear's flashback ability. Tapping both of my Lotus Fields again to pay for it, I will float a total of 11 mana and go down to 9 mana. So having 9 blue mana in my mana pool, I will untap both of my Lotus Fields. I will then cast the adventure side of the Fey Wishes to search my sideboard for a card and put that into my hand. So going down to 5 blue mana, I will search my sideboard. I'm gonna find Emergent Ultimatum from my sideboard using the Fey Wishes. Emergent Ultimatum is also a very strong combo piece in this deck because it allows us to find all of the important pieces that we need to combo off. It allows me to search my library for 3 cards, and my opponent chooses one of them to shuffle back into my library, and the rest of the 2 I get to cast for free, basically. So I will put Emergent Ultimatum into my hand, and I will use 1 on the Lotus Field for 3 green, 1 for 3 black, and I will cast Emergent Ultimatum with 3 blue mana and 1 black in my mana pool. So Emergent Ultimatum is going to find me Dark Petition, Omniscience, and Pour Over the Pages. And now, Mons, you have to choose one of them that I shuffle back.
You can shuffle Omniscience back into your library.
Okay, wise choice. I will put back the Omniscience into my library and shuffle. All right, so both Pour Over the Pages and Dark Petition will be put on the stack. I will choose to resolve Pour Over the Pages first, and I will do that now. I will draw 3 cards, discard 1, and untap 2 lands. Untapping my Lotus Fields and discarding this Yavimaya Coast to my graveyard. I will then resolve the Dark Petition. Having Spell Mastery, I have a lot of instants and sorceries in my graveyard. I will gain 3 black, going up to 4 black and 3 blue, and I will search my library for a card. I will find this secret card and put it into my hand. So now, with my 7 mana floating, I'm gonna spend all of it and a Lotus Field to cast Omniscience that I tutored for.
But I try to make you not have it. Well, carry on. I think I'm dead.
All right, that is great news. I will continue by generating just enough mana by tapping my Lotus Field and cycling Vizier of Tumbling Sands to untap my Lotus Field, floating 1 blue mana. Untap Lotus Field and draw a card. I'm then gonna cast Fey Wishes from the Adventure Zone using 2 blue mana. And since Omniscience only makes me able to spend cards for free from my hand, I have to still pay mana for my Fey Wishes from the Adventure Zone because of the wording on the card. With 2 blue mana floating, I'm gonna activate the ability of Fey Wishes, discarding 2 cards and trying to return Fey Wishes to my hand with no mana floating.
I have no response. I do have a Fatal Push that would work great right now, but I don't have any black mana available for me for it. So yeah, you got it.
All right, that is fantastic news. I got off easy this time. I'm gonna return Fey Wishes to my hand, and then I will proceed to recast the Fey Wishes for the adventure side to search my sideboard again for a card. I'm gonna find Approach of the Second Sun, this silly Wincon, to my hand, and then I will proceed by casting Approach of the Second Sun. Approach of the Second Sun is the silly win con that I use to win the game. So in this case, I haven't cast Approach of the Second Sun yet. So I'm yet to win the game, but I will gain 7 life and put it on the 7th position from the top of my library. Okay, I will continue on by casting this double-faced card, Balaged's Recovery. It's going to return a card from the graveyard to my hand, which is really good with Omniscience, because from my hand I can cast things for free. So casting Balaged's Recovery, I'm going to target this Dark Petition from my graveyard, returning it into my hand. I will then proceed by casting the Dark Petition and gaining 3 black and notably searching my library for a card. My Dark Petition is going to find this Approach of the Second Sun that was apparently in my deck, and I am gonna, using Omniscience replacement payment, I'm gonna pay for the Approach of the Second Sun, and I will win the game. GG's.